Hello, hola, welcome. My name is Miss Bailey, and if you're watching this video, it means that I'm your child's Spanish teacher. I teach Spanish 2, Spanish 2-3 Accelerated Honors, and Spanish 4. And right now I'm also finishing up a long-term subbing position with the AP class. But in the next couple of weeks, Miss Burdick will be covering for that again, so I'll only be your child's sub for a little while. This video is just a way for me to introduce myself to you guys, to introduce you guys to the class, and the ins and outs of what your students need to know to be successful in my class. I've already told them the majority of this information, and hopefully they've passed some of it on to you, but if not, this is a way for me to get that information to you for the first time. A little bit about me. This is my third year here at West Michigan Aviation Academy. And I love teaching Spanish. I'm really passionate about it. Honestly, it's so exciting to be able to give your children the opportunity to speak a second language. It's such a gift, and I feel really honored to have the ability to speak two languages, and so I'm excited to pass that on to your children as well. Speaking two languages gave me much more confidence. It helped me learn a lot about myself. And it's given me many opportunities to travel around the world and just learn about other cultures as well. To talk a little bit on that, I've had opportunities to study abroad in Spain, in Guatemala, and I've spent the most amount of my time abroad in Argentina. So I'm very passionate about Argentine culture, and your kids are going to hear lots about those experiences, and hopefully they'll become passionate to travel and experience the world on their own as well. The next thing that you guys need to know is about the syllabus and how to find it. My syllabus is posted on Canvas. So all of your students should have already shown you the syllabus, and if they haven't, you can ask them for how to do that. My syllabus covers a lot of the important parts of my class. The two that I'll bring up right now are grading. My class is a standards-based class, which means that they are graded on their reading skills, their writing skills, their listening skills, and their speaking skills. So there's no test grades in my class. It's all based off of how well are they speaking, and if it's a speaking assignment, that's going to go into the speaking category of their grade. So if your student really struggles with speaking, that's only going to affect a small percentage of their grade, and then the rest of it will be bolstered by their writing, reading, listening skills as well. We also have a coursework section where students will include things that aren't specific to one of those sectors. So if they're following along with a movie that we watch in class, and that's including writing and listening skills, I might put it in that category. With that, some things that you should know about grading. Makeup work, I accept late work for full credit. This is a crazy year, and I really want to support your students in any way that I can. And so I'm accepting all late work this year. Additionally, makeups. If your child wants to redo a quiz, I am going to let them. Their grade, in my opinion, should reflect what they know. And if they learn that information, then I encourage them to do quiz retakes. They are allowed infinite number of these. However, there are some additional things that they need to complete. All of this can be found on their Canvas in the important documents section. There will be a section that says quiz retake form or something along those lines, and that's how your students can access that. Other things in the syllabus that are important is mainly the attitude that I expect of students is that they come to my class willing to learn. And if they come willing to speak Spanish, to listen, to participate, they are going to pick up on Spanish, and this class should be hopefully on the easier side for them. I ask a lot of work of them in class, but very little outside of class. Some routines that I have in my class is that we will be doing a lot of reading, just like your students picked up English with lots of reading when they were younger. We do a lot of reading because they're young students when it comes to Spanish. So we have a library in each of our classes that your students will be able to pick out a book. We have created a little quarantine for them where your students will keep their books separate in a little Ziploc baggie. And then when they're done reading, we will sanitize them before putting them back. but all of your students will finish multiple novels before the end of their time in Spanish 2, 2-3 honors, or even Spanish 4. We're going to read lots, and it's going to be really good for them. We're also going to listen to lots of music in this class. Music shows us lots of listening skills, and on top of it, lots of culture. So I'm going to ask students to pick out different cultural pieces as we listen to different music. If you guys know of any good stuff, I always take recommendations from both students and parents, so I would love to hear those from you guys. Materials. In the syllabus, it also asks that every student has a notebook for class. I'll show you an example one right now. All it is a simple notebook with some tabs that I made out of sticky notes. I give kids sticky notes to divide their own. This is where we're going to keep all of our stuff this year. So I'm going to ask kids to do a lot of copying in there. But more repetition means it's better remembered in their brains. Repetition is good in some instances for helping them learn, but this is where they'll keep track of everything. So I ask that this notebook is specific to Spanish class and not to any other classes. I know I was really guilty of that as a student where I'd have everything shoved into one notebook, but we are working on organization, so we're going to try and maintain that with just one notebook for Spanish. Those are the only materials I ask for class. Also, they will need to have a charged Chromebook, like they will for any class. Homework. So for Spanish 2, there is no homework. The only homework they will have is if we have a project. There will be about one around midterms time. Or if they don't finish work in class, they will be expected to finish that on their own time. Homework for Spanish 2-3 Accelerated Honors is done monthly, and that is posted in its own module on Canvas, so they can always access it there. And then homework for Spanish 4 is a semester-long project of a book report, and then there will be some listening associated with finding some podcasts. All of this has been gone over in class, and so your students should already have their book report books with them, and they should be starting reading them even now. So that's something that they can do at home on their own time, and it should be a really relaxing project for them. Some things that I use in my class, there's a site called Flipgrid, which is used for recording oneself. Your students are going to use this a lot because it's a really easy way for everybody to speak at once without them having to be in front of everybody. As new learners of a language, it can be really hard to stand up in front of people and share, how are you doing today, what's your name, and an introduction. But your students can just talk to their computers, and then I can watch it later as a way of practice speaking so that I can see where they're at speaking-wise and they can get a little bit more practice in. Especially with the demands of COVID and not being able to partner students up as much face-to-face, we will be using this a little bit more this year. So if your student is struggling with that, that's something that I would love your encouragement for them, that they can just practice becoming a little more familiar with filming oneself. I know that I have had to do that as well as I started filming videos for this year. Navigating for my weekend preview is found on Canvas on the home page. On my home page, if you look, it will have a calendar for 2 weeks out, and it will show what we are doing in class. If we don't get through something, it'll obviously be moved to the next day, but that is the general plan, is that is what we are doing in class that day. If your student is an online learner, I have also added a second way for them to understand what we're doing by a checklist so that they can see in order what I expect them to do. For online learners, the first thing that I have them do is watch a video where I try and explain a little bit better what they need to do that week, and also that's really good practice for their listening because I'll be speaking in Spanish as well as in English for when they really need some clarification. That is the biggest difference for online versus in-person, is that my online kids will only hear Spanish when I show them videos or when they're listening to me. So your online kids will need to watch all of the videos when I post videos so that they can really get that practice in. Navigating my class other than that is go to the modules, and it's divided up by what week we are in. If your student is in a higher level, I might write semana instead of week. And so semana 1 is just week 1, semana dos, week 2. And so it's dividing up the work based off of that. I think that's all that I have to cover, but ultimately I'm really excited to have your students in class. They are such a joy, be it that they're online or in person. I'm really happy to have these kids. And please encourage them to email me if they ever have questions. I'll do my best to be really prompt with responses. If you guys have questions, please email me as well. Sometimes I might respond back with something along the lines of, oh, that's a great idea. Why don't we have your students start and join into that communication with us? I find that in high school, especially upper grades, it's really important to get kids involved in that communication so that they can start advocating for themselves and be really successful after high school, so that in college they know how to email their professors, how to ask for an extension, how to ask for help if they're struggling in a class. Almost all of the time my answer is yes, so they really have nothing to be afraid of. I try and make this a really low stress environment where they feel really supported by me. And I hope that you guys feel the same, that this class isn't intimidating for your child, that it's a place where they can relax, where they can be themselves, and that they can have fun learning. Again, if you have any questions, please email me. I would love to connect with you. That's all for now. Have a good night and adios.